As a Japanese person, I want to tell you that working in Japan is not as good as you think. Especially in Vietnam, Japanese culture is glorified. Many young people aspire to work in Japan because they think that Japanese companies are great and they can get high-level skills by working in Japan. However, in reality, working in Japan is not a great thing. In Japan, there are two types of companies: large companies and small or medium-sized companies. And the working environment varies depending on the company. Large companies tend to be easier to work for, while small and medium-sized companies are often more difficult to work. The reason is that large companies attract attention from society, so they have to make themselves look good. Companies are not very noticeable, such as small and medium-sized companies in rural areas and small family-run shops often have terrible working environment. Specifically, there are problems such as power harassment and sexual harassment of employees, unpaid overtime, long working hours, and low wages. Of course, there are so many good companies in Japan, but since many people apply to good companies, the complication is also high. If you are thinking of working in Japan as a technical intern trainee, it's unlikely that you will be able to get into a large company because large companies place importance on your Japanese university degrees, past experience, and skills you have. As a result, foreigners who come to Japan as technical intern trainees and often go to bad companies. The dark side of technical intern training system. First, Vietnamese who want to work in Japan pay a pre-departure fee of about 1 million yen at intermediary companies, which is migrant worker dispatching agency in Vietnam. This pre-departure fee of 1 million yen includes tuition fees of the pre-departure training center, visa, and passport. The pre-departure fee of 1 million yen is very expensive, so most Vietnamese pay it by borrowing money. Money that deposited with the intermediary company and returned it to you when the contract period is completed. However, if there is the problem and you quit the technical intern training midway, it will not refund it. A pre-departure training center is a place where Vietnamese people are slowly taught Japanese values such as following rules equipped before coming to Japan. However, this pre-departure training center is teaching Vietnamese people as if they are training an army. I think this is too much. Japanese supervision organizations monitor whether the accepting companies are properly giving work of the trainees, and the acceptation companies pay supervision fee to the supervision organization. In the technical intern training system, the Vietnamese sending organization, the Japanese accepting companies, and the supervision organization work together. There are many weird points about the technical intern training system. First of all, why are the pre-departure cost is so high? This is because technical intern training program is the business. The reason why people who worked as technical intern trainees turn to sending agency because they know the sending agency and the intermediary companies can make money. The reason why many Vietnamese go to work in Japan because they support their family. Technical intern trainees from rural areas in Vietnam do not have financial means at home, so they send their salary from working in Japan to their family. Some young women have children and send their salary from Japan to pay for their children's education cost. Many young people in Vietnam who need to support their family financially aspire to work in Japan. Sending agency get these ignorant young people to pay the expenses by telling them that they will be paid more if they work in Japan and they will gain great skill. Many young Vietnamese people are from rural areas and do not have money, so they cannot go to Japan unless they pay travel expense to intermediary companies. The Vietnamese implemented labor export policy, setting target for the number of workers to be sent out and donating business license to intermediary companies that send workers out. So its labor export policy, Vietnam places important to remittance from overseas migrant workers in addition to combating domestic employment. Foreign technical intern trainees are considered to be cheap labor for small and medium-sized Japanese companies, and some Japanese companies treat them like slaves. Racism and discrimination against Vietnamese technical intern trainees. I'll explain example of the racism that Vietnam's technical intern trainees have experienced in Japan. Case of Mr. Quiz. Mr. Kui, who come to Japan as a technical intern trainees at the metal processing factory, working at company in Saga Prefecture. However, company that accepted him did not teach him how to do the job. Instead, he was given only odd job and did simple labor every day. Mr. Kui brought money to come to Japan, and he wanted to learn Japanese technology so badly that he tried to operate the factory machine himself. However, he acted on his own without the permission of the employees on the factory floor, and he got attacked by them. Mr. Kui asked Japanese employee, "Why don't you teach me the skills?" They responded, "Even if we teach you skills, you will go back to your country after 3 years of training. Teaching you will not benefit our company." In his first year of training, his monthly salary was about only 93,000 yen. After deducing taxes, rent, food, and living expenses, he only had the take-home pay to 30,000 to 40,000 yen. And he had sent this money to his family. Then he had almost no money to spend free in Japan. Before coming to Japan, he had been told by the Vietnamese dispatching agency he can earn 200,000 or 300,000 yen a month if he worked in Japan. But in reality, his monthly salary was only 90,000 yen. He shared a room with fellow Vietnamese technical intern trainees in a room provided by the host companies. The rent of the room was 25,000 yen each, so the two of them paid 50,000 yen for the room. In this way, the technical intern trainees program is system that exploits technical intern trainees by making them work like slaves and they paying them rent. Mr. Kui is in Japan on a technical intern training visa, so he cannot quit his job even if he wanted to, and he had to work somehow to pay off his debt. Many Vietnamese technical intern trainees are in such a hard condition, and many of them have fled their companies, been caught by Japanese supervising organization, and have been forced to return home with debt. This is the reality of working in Japan as a technical intern trainees. So what I would like to say to Vietnamese people who want to work in Japan is stop relying on companies. There are good companies in Japan, but there is many bad companies too. That's why if you are coming to Japan, you should earn your own travel expenses without using Vietnamese intermediary companies. If you don't have a job, then I think you might want to start your own business. Like for example, try making your own illustration or music and selling them on the internet, and find a way to earn money on your own rather than getting a salary from companies. And be sure to research Japanese companies before coming to Japan. That's all for today. See ya.